luck, he ended up with an armful of beautiful woman. Apparently, he was getting an extension. She tilted her face up to him, and he saw the distress in her pretty greenish-blue eyes. "What's happening?" "We stopped," he said, hoping she'd find the obvious answer funny. In his experience, humor relaxed people. She didn't even crack a smile, and he cleared his throat before continuing. "There are a few reasons it could happen, but the system probably has a problem or malfunction somewhere, and it shut the elevator down to be safe." "This is not safe." She wasn't in a full-blown panic, but her anxiety practically crackled around her, and she was clutching his arm so tightly he could feel her grip through the heavy bunker coat. "And what do you mean by a malfunction? So something could be more wrong than the fact we're not moving anymore?" "Everything's fine." He had to let his arms fall away from her as she backed away, wincing a little. "Are you hurt?" "No." He wasn't reassured by the quick way she said it, as if it was a reflex and maybe not the truth. He pulled out his phone to send a quick group text to Danny Walsh, Engine 59's LT, and Rick Gulati. "Elevator's stuck. Why?" Then he peeled off the heavy coat and tossed it on the floor, dropping the helmet on top of it while she sent a text message of her own to somebody. "We're okay in here. Just try to stay calm and we'll be out in no time." "Stay calm," she muttered as her phone vibrated and she sent another text. "That's easy for you to say. Being brave in the face of death is part of your job." That was a little dramatic, but she wasn't totally wrong. About his job, anyway. "You're not facing death. I promise." His phone vibrated with a response from Walsh. "Working on it. Stand by." The woman's face was slightly flushed. "Shouldn't you, I don't know, go up through the ceiling hatch and climb up the cable or something?" Derek managed, barely, not to laugh outright at her, but he couldn't hold back a short chuckle. "I'm a firefighter, not John McClane." "Who's John McClane?" Oh, she did not just ask that. "The greatest action hero of all time? The guy from Die Hard?" "I've heard of those movies, but I've never seen any of them." If he'd needed any more of a definitive sign this woman wasn't his type, that was it. There were 6 movies, so she had to work at not seeing any of them. "You're missing out." "So what's your name?" "Olivia." Pretty name. Classic and elegant, and it suited her. "I'm Derek." "Can you pry open the doors?" she asked, clearly not in a place to be distracted by small talk. "With my bare hands." He held them up, showing off his lack of tools. "I work out a little, but not that much." Her gaze flicked over his body, and he stood up straighter and sucked in his gut. Not that there was much to suck in, but he wasn't in his 20s anymore. Hell, he was barely still in his 30s. "You work out more than a little." Her tone of voice made it sound like just an observation. But he didn't miss her gaze lingering for a second on his chest, or the way her eyebrow lifted as her mouth curved into a hint of a smile. She wasn't flirting, but she liked what she saw and he'd take the win. He'd need all the ego-boosting he could get once the other guys started giving him shit for having to rescue him from an elevator. Then she shifted her weight and, when she winced again, Derek gave her a stern look. "You're hurt." "No, I'm not. I twisted my ankle a little when the elevator stopped." "You need to get those shoes off and let me look at it." She laughed and shook her head. "I don't care how nice this elevator is. I am not touching the floor with my bare feet." Derek picked up his coat, letting the helmet roll free, and, with a flourish, spread it over the floor in front of her. "Your carpet, milady." Olivia McGovern didn't have time to be stuck in an elevator today. Her schedule was so tight the Lyft driver, who was hopefully still waiting outside for her after her text, would determine the fate of her punctuality streak. And she hadn't been late to a meeting in the 3 years since she'd officially hung out her McGovern Consulting shingle. But none of that seemed to matter when she looked into the warm blue eyes of the firefighter smiling at her right now. It had been the smile he gave her as he stepped onto the elevator that first caught her attention. That smile that was just a little friendlier than a polite thank you and radiated warmth had been sexy, she had to admit. His helmet coming off to reveal tousled, dark, dirty blonde hair, along with the Boston Fire t-shirt showing off a very nicely built upper body, hadn't hurt either. But it was